What is up, YouTube? Doing a all wood project on this particular build. So got this piece of red oak. It's just a solid slab. Got this giant bucket, and we're just gonna make ourselves a wooden blank. And we haven't done this in a very long time on the channel. We've been doing epoxy builds with wood, with scraps, with different objects that we're dipping in the resin. Haven't done a wood project in a very long time. Thought it was long overdue, and this is actually for somebody in my family who wanted me to build them another bowl. And we have done this previously, like the year prior, in another project, and thought, you know what, this is round two. I'm gonna go ahead and build something spectacular using this piece of board and just some general knowledge of woodworking. And as you'll see here, we had a couple of problems, and obviously you can still see my finger is all screwed up from when I put it in the belt sander. So this was obviously done in October. You're probably going to watch this sometime in either February or March, even maybe April, but the finger has healed if you're worried or concerned. So basically got everything shaped down the way I wanted, made my circles where I wanted my blanks, and I took my miter saw, and I'm just basically making long cuts. And I screwed up in this particular part. Sorry about the shoddy camera work. We usually do that on this channel. Decided to use the jigsaw for this particular portion of it. And if you look over in the corner, there is a bandsaw that I should have been using from the beginning. My Ryobi jigsaw actually overheated on me and the battery overcooked, and I ended up having to use the table saw eventually for this project. So after we got everything cut down, everything real nice and neat, haven't seen the Gorilla Glue in a very long time. Got everything glued up, and haven't done a glue up in a long time. I miss, having to do these, and I'm probably going to do some wood projects later on in the channel in the year. You'll see more of this, and typically wood projects are a little bit easier than epoxy because typically you don't get a lot of problems. All you have to do is glue it up and make sure everything is nice and stuck together. So forgot how to do a glue up there, obviously, and I finally figured out, hey, pick up the actual wood blank and put like 5 different grips around it. So that was approximately 48 hours later. We got everything done, and here's my genius woodworking right here. Snap that mother trucker in half, so I had to come back with a pair of pliers and actually dig that out, take the compact drill and actually get that faceplate on it. So got it on the lathe eventually. Not a lot of movement, had it pushed up against the wall. Typically what I've learned is the bigger the blank, the more stabilization that it needs. So we pushed the lathe all the way to the back and didn't get a lot of dancing on it initially. And here we are, just getting that nice round shape that we want our bowl to look at. And I forget how easy it is to work with wood. The epoxy, you sometimes get a lot of catches or chipping or something like that. Typically with wood, not so much the case. So chisels were really sharp, everything cut through like butter, and we actually had a really good build with this one, and overall really happy the way this initial first portion of it turned out. And there you can see the square carbide tool just really taking down a lot of material, not getting a lot of complications with it. Real easy, nice, smooth, and even is what we're going for on this particular project. And here we are just squaring everything up nice and neat the way we want it. So once we did that, now you can see me being stupid again, and here we go. Watch. Idiot. I should have taken it off the lathe and put it down and stabilized it instead of doing that, and now it's on the floor. So once I unscrewed myself, I went ahead and got it on the lathe reversed with the mortise, and now we're just smoothing everything out real nice and neat, making sure everything is nice and even, using that cool rounded carbide tool that I love so much to use in my epoxy projects. So this part went relatively well because we did a majority of the work when the faceplate was on, so we didn't have anything much to worry about. Everything looked really nice and even. So now what I'm doing here is taking the drill and creating small little holes in the actual wood blank itself. So the person that I built this for, their favorite color is green, and I wanted to do something just different. And I thought, what better way to do that than like a polka dot type of bowl. And you'll see we have a little bit of problems a little bit later in the build, but this part actually went pretty well. The wood held up real nice and neat. Everything else was good. So then I went to I went to Lowe's, picked up this wood putty. It's actually not wood putty, it's wood filler. and decided, you know what better way than to make your own. That is just normal food coloring dye right there, if you're curious of what that was. Mixed everything up nice and neat in this small little cup, and the plan was just to fill all of these holes with this wood putty slash glue slash wood filler. It's not putty, it's wood filler. You can pick it up anywhere. So here I am, just basically slathering it on. Got everything, kind of way they wanted it. I wish I would have had putty. That probably would have worked a lot better. I was going to use Milliput, but it doesn't come in these cool colors that I wanted. So just decided to do this instead as an experiment. And probably do a similar project like this a little bit later in the video or a little bit later in the channel. But once we got everything nice and dried, if you look over here on the right hand side of your screen, you'll see a lot of green splatter. What I did was I put all that putty on there and then came back 2 hours later before it actually dried and cured, and it literally flew everywhere. So that green splatter literally is the initial onset. I had to come back and actually do that twice. So if you're curious to what happened, let this set up for at least 24 hours. So once we did that, we got everything nice and turned down. Now we're just gouging out the bowl. This part really didn't give us any real kind of problems. The biggest problem that I had was once I got deeper into the bowl, it did become a little bit more difficult to get down into the actual bowl itself. And getting the edges all nice and done. Did have a couple of knots in the actual bowl. Sorry for the shoddy camera work again. But overall, the gouging part went really smooth. Not a lot of issues with it. I wanted something a little bit sturdier, so the lip of the bowl is a little bit thicker than I would, generally make. But I was like, this is going to hold up nicely and you shouldn't have any problems. Plus, with all the holes that I drilled, I didn't want to get too close because I did go a little deeper in some areas with the drill. But we got everything smoothed down real nice and neat. Got to a nice depth, and here we are just making some, last purpose cuts, just getting everything nice and evened out, smoothed out, so when we start sanding, everything is just nice and smooth. Because if you don't get that lip just the way you need it to be, you're going to get some bumps and ridges when you're smoothing out the inside. So here we are. Once I gouged everything out, went back and just doing some touch-up work with that wood filler, same thing. And once it cures, it turns into that lighter green color than that dark cool color that I like. So this is a concept that will work. I'll probably experiment with some different colors and some other projects in the future. So once we did that, we went from, I believe I went from 80 grit all the way up to 1500. Cool transition, right? So here we are with the last piece of 1500 sandpaper. Got everything smoothed down. Didn't have to come back with the carbide tool and take down those touch-ups. So once everything was nice, smooth, and sanded, this is the part I really love in this wood, and I love the way red oak looks on the lathe. Once you polish it and hit it with that wood wax, it looks really smooth. It looks fantastic. I'm sure the person that I made this for will really be happy with the final project. And you can see those little polka dots. It didn't turn out exactly the way I wanted them to, but you get the overall concept. And, trial and error, I'm sure as we do these in the future, they will look a little bit better, but there's the inside of that bowl looking absolutely beautiful. So hope you guys like the project. Hope you got something out of it. Really enjoyed making this one. We're going to do more wood projects versus just epoxy a little bit later. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll check you guys out in the next video. Peace. Okay, so this project is done. As you saw in the reveal, kind of, sort of, not really. Here we go. Not too bad. I haven't done a pure wood project in a very long time. So had some trouble with this red oak. It was a little bit harder wood than I remember it being. Polka dots definitely gave me some issues. There they are. Not bad for first attempt at just taking wood paste and then just coloring it to whatever you wanted. But overall, not too bad. Nice little bowl for someone. So there it is. Hope you guys liked it. We're going to be doing more wood projects later, instead of just epoxy. But there you go. Simple little bowl. Polka dots. Doing something a little bit different design. So hope you got something out of it. Don't forget to subscribe. That's what I was going for. And I'll see you guys in the next project. Peace.